Hey everybody, Weem here. Welcome to Ymir. This is a game that I had run into a bit ago. It looked like just a general RTS game that I wasn't really looking for at the time, but recently I've been watching some videos from Ymir Game and realized there is a lot more to this game than I thought there would be. I want to thank Thibaut, the developer of the game, for sending me a copy of this for me to try out. I've been watching a number of videos and have just run a quick little test game, so I think I know just enough to be dangerous to myself at least. So anyway, I wanted to jump in here and kind of walk you through some of the early stuff and give you an idea for the game. Before I do that, let me give you a little bit of a description of what this game is. It's a multiplayer civilization builder. It actually has two modes. There's a persistent mode where you have a server that's kind of on and running at all times. Then you have a real-time mode, which you can kind of run on your own or play with your friends and everything. Two very different paces to the game. The persistent mode is a bit slower, but that's because it can have, I think right now it can have up to 100, or at least that's the goal, is for it to have up to 100 players per server, so you can kind of jump in, get your civilization going, see what's been going on. Pretty interesting. So the world has a lot of different regions, and kind of what takes this away from just a normal RTS mode, at least in my mind, I looked at it and said, okay, you have one map, you fight against other people, and that's it, just the one kind of zone you're in. This actually is, the world is made up of a bunch of regions, and those regions have a lot of zones everywhere, and you actually can go into a zone and colonize it, build in there, gather resources, and everything. One of the things that really interested me about that aspect is that I've always liked the idea of games that had basically region-specific resources. So if you want gold, that's kind of over here. If you want this resource, it's on the other side of the map. And then those people may have to work together to, say, trade, versus everywhere you go having all the resources available to you. I really like that idea. This game has that. Okay, so here we've got a list of the persistent games right now. Some of these have been going on longer than others. You can look at the hours. There is a Discord for this game, and I will also have a link to that in the description. Great place to ask questions and throw in any kind of issues that have come up to really help the developer kind of work out those issues and everything. There's a support section in there. But basically, I saw somebody ask, hey, I'm just starting, what persistent server should I start on? And Ravens was mentioned, and the reason it was mentioned was that because you could actually start at kind of the earlier time frame. Basically, as the server progresses and moves through time, and a lot of time is kind of stacking up on the server, you can't start in those very early stages. When you start, you're actually kind of propelled forward a bit, so there's a lot more tech and everything. That may be appealing to some, but also you have people who are pretty well developed on the server. So if you were looking for a newer start, at least by what I read yesterday, this was the place to go. So I think we're gonna go ahead and do that. Now, there is an interesting thing I really like about the persistent servers. If you're away for a long enough period of time, your civilization becomes inactive, and when you actually join a game, which we're about to do, you can choose to start as one of those quote-unquote abandoned civilizations, which is a pretty cool way of doing it, I think. Okay, so here we go. We've got our persistent server here, Ravens Persistent, and the options for getting us started. We can randomly generate a name. I'm going to actually change this. I'm just going to go with Weencast here. We've got facial things we can change here, eyes, snout, mouth. You can actually randomly generate this, which I think I'll do. I'll just kind of click through a few of these. Let's do this guy. He's like, huh? That's me, right? We're new to this game. We have our kingdom. What is the name? Generate the nation. The nation's name. We're going to call this... we're just going to call it Weem's Land. And then what we're going to do is, I played around with this before, we're going to go with dark, we're going to go with the other blues, kind of my logo colors-ish. And then I was thinking, like, if I could get a W of some kind, and there was a trident, and I'm actually like totally zoning, there it is. I was like, why am I not seeing it now? So there we go, that's pretty cool. I think we'll stick with that. So here you can actually choose the different start types. You have the primitive tribes. You can see here the description. It's basically starting from scratch. You do have succession. This is what I mentioned before. You can become the ruler of an already existing government in need of a successor. So that's somebody who's been inactive. Up here you can see 15 days is the max offline time. And then that's when you basically can be taken over. I'm not sure what the spawn cool off. Let's see. The minimum time before being allowed to respawn on the server. Okay, interesting. That probably, I'm assuming that means like make a new tribe. And then of course you can choose to start next to someone else here, spawn close to character. We're going to leave that. So right now with these settings, it's telling us there are 5 matches here. So if I turn some things off, I want to see. So we basically can't start in a temperate area. It looks like cold is actually the only option. So we're gonna go ahead and do that. We're gonna see how it goes. I do want to check this out. Become the leader of a colony created by another player. Oh, maybe that's what it was. Of an inactive. Okay. I'm not sure the difference between those two necessarily. Become a new leader of a territory previously fallen to anarchy. I see. Well, we're going to stick with this. We're going to start new. We're going to start in the cold. Not sure if that's good or bad for us, but we'll find out. Okay, so we have just popped into here. We've got this area we're in. You can see we're asked to start our first settlement. This is basically the objective, is to own one or more territories. So we're going to go ahead and close this out. It looks like we have something next to us. Alright, we've got this guy, active player, neutral. Okay, that's fine. So we've got these different areas, and if I click these, you can see the size of these zones, right? So what we're going to do is where we're at. One of the big tips I've seen online is to settle where you start, just to jump in. So basically, when we want to look in this area, we can go up here, hit this guy, and we'll get this loading screen, and it's going to bring us down into that zone, basically the area we can work in. And I think I probably should have stayed back out there and chose the settle thing first. I'll have to jump back out and do that, but we'll take a look around here really quick. Okay, so here we are up on the mini. Here you can see there's a lake, and then we're actually by a shore, which is pretty interesting. We're by an ocean but have this lake. That's a pretty interesting layout. Let's take a peek here, and the map will kind of load in. So we've got all kinds of stuff around here. Now what I can do is hold right click and drag. We've got gravelly ground. We have all kinds of stuff here. Let's see. And we'll also have groundwater levels there, so 7.25. The most, I thought I'd seen 10 was the most, until I was just kind of looking around. I found a 10.01. So anyway, that'll give you a general indication. It also seems to be kind of the darker the green color, the better the groundwater is. Of course, I say that, and here's some 8s that look dry. Anyway, we've got a lot of gravel, a lot of fir, like lots of trees. We have the schist. I'm not sure I've even seen that word before. Let's see, and what is this? There's already something here. I'm not sure why the water is here. Maybe somebody was here and it was abandoned? These are my people, kind of walking around doing things. It looks like there's like ruins around here. It's pretty interesting. So I could settle here. Again, the tip is to basically settle where you start. But I don't know if I can do that. I kind of want to look around a little bit. That is a bit dangerous, and let's talk about why. Okay, so we're back out on the overworld kind of map here, and basically this unit here has all of our people, and it has anything we happen to own. It's got all our starting material, every person, not just troops, which we will eventually have, but these are just like our people. And the reason this is dangerous to kind of be moving around with them is that every time you move, there's different events. And a lot of them are good. They'll add new people, or you'll find cool resources. But some of them are bad, and you can get completely wiped out. I would just want to move over like one more tile and check that out. So we're going to go over here, and we're going to hit OK. We're going to cross our fingers and hope that nothing crazy bad happens to us. Let's kind of move the map over here. So we've got there. It looks like we didn't have any kind of event pop up, which is good. And we could settle here, but let's go ahead and take a peek, see what this looks like. Okay, so this is pretty rough. We've got this kind of higher elevation here, lots of rocks. Not really. I mean, the groundwater is okay, and we can certainly make a well, but we wouldn't have that right away. So this is definitely not a great spot. This is what I do. I move around a lot. We're going to kind of keep that tradition going, I think. Alright, we're back out here. We're going to go ahead and move diagonally over here. Now, if we had hunters, we had kind of warriors with us, we could actually hunt as we came in here and take these sheep, basically take the materials from them, what I imagine to be wool and meat, perhaps. But we're just going to move on over here, hope for the best, and let's take a peek. Okay, so I've kind of looked around this place, and there's nothing too special about this, but in my previous game, in my trial run, I found that a lot of the squares that I went to, a lot of the zones, didn't have, I expected maybe like some cool resources in each one, but that's really like not very common. Fortunately, there is copper up here, which is cool, so we can get started on that. So I think we're just going to stay here. We've got gravel, we've got plenty of wood, that's for sure. We're basically on the ocean, we can get water, that's not a problem. And this had sheep in here, so we're just gonna go ahead and dive right in. Now the first thing we want to do is get some water going, so we're definitely gonna have to start working on that. Okay, well I got a little greedy. Before I could put water down I needed to settle, so I went back out to the overland map and thought, okay, let's move one more zone. And I actually did get attacked. We came out pretty well, I don't think we really lost much. And I checked that next zone south, and it was okay, so I basically have come back here and settled, so we're actually ready to finally get started. My sense of exploration, I have to try to dial that back a bit. But you can see we've got some ground area here. They're starting to place down resources. These are slums. They will make these when there's no homes. And we need to get started here. So we've got a water collector, and one of the cool things about working within the zone is that you don't have to have everything connected. Basically, anything happening anywhere in this zone is going to the big pool of resources of your, basically, of the zone. So it's kind of cool in that sense. So in other words, we can actually take the water and put it, you know, anywhere out here where it can go. We don't have to worry about that being a long trip, you know, oh, they got to walk really far to get there. We don't have to worry about that. So I'm just going to go ahead and stick this kind of in the middle. We're just going to put it here. I'm going to go ahead and stick that down. So that's going to sit here and build up and everything. Okay. And we're going to get these little tips. I think we may get these through all the beginning stuff. It's telling us now that we need to get the hunting going, which is fine. So what we're going to do there is we're going to go to production. We have the hunter, and we can actually drag this around and look for the meat icon. You can see there's a meat icon right here. So if we bring this in, you'll see that we're going to gain 1.6 meat and the leather as well. But let's take a peek around. It looks like that might be the only, it's the only place here for that. So we're just going to go ahead and stick this right there. Cool, and that's going to get going. And I don't think you can actually hire, I don't think this happens until the construction is done, but these places you'll end up putting in workers, and then this is kind of priority for the hunting, essentially. So this will get done here in a second. Okay, we're going to go ahead and hire one. And I think that will happen as soon as it can. There we go. It says 4 of 4. I'm not entirely sure why it does that. I actually had 2 hunting places down one time, and it was kind of 2 of 2. I don't know if that's because it's like more efficient. I did see a tooltip about efficient buildings, but anyway, we do have that going, so that's good. Agriculture is next up on the list, so let's go ahead and hit this guy, and we can look around here as well and look for any particular. Sometimes there will be things on the ground, for example, like carrots or tomatoes. This doesn't seem like the kind of zone to have anything crazy good like that. But you'll also do things off of here like wheat and things, so it shouldn't be too big of a deal. I don't think. I hope not. So we're just going to actually stick this because I'm not seeing any difference here or anything. So we're going to go ahead and plop this down like here is fine, I think. Oh, nothing exploitable. Does that mean there's nothing exploitable anywhere? Oh no, this is no good. Let me turn that off real quick and look at this. Wild resources. Huh. But what if we don't have any? Are we going to be wholly relying on the meat? That might be the case. I have not run into this, but I am very new to the game, so anyway, we may move on to something else. It doesn't look like it's going to let me kind of put this anywhere, but I assume that that's okay. Okay, so let's move on to the tool maker. This one needs, I think it was flint, and basically, let's see, did I click the right guy there? Yeah. we're going to put this, or it might even be gravel, I can't remember. But anyway, we're going to put this probably just right over here for now. Get this guy going. 2, 1. Okay. So each ticket's going to go through there, and we'll get workers going on that as well. What we need next is we need to get some wood going. We've got that here, the wood cutter. And here you can see plus 0.45. What I've noticed is that seems to be the max when I was playing around, so it looks like that's still the case. Lots of wood here, so that's not a problem at all. I just thought I would look around and see if there was any possible way of getting it higher than that. Doesn't seem to be the case, though. So we're going to put this right nearby, just because it's nice to have everything close. Cool. Get that going. So militia is going to be next on the list. These guys are just dropping stuff on the ground. I don't think... Oh, it is ground storage. Okay. Because you can make ground storage, and they said if you run out of storage, they will just put it on the ground, which is not effective. It's less effective. But that's all we would be doing anyway, so we'll just let them... We'll let them pile that up. So we have workers getting wood. That's great. We've got tools coming in. Now, one of the great things about this as well is we can actually jump over to resources here, and it actually shows the resources we have. So the more stuff you start to gather, the more this will fill in. And you can actually select these. For example, I can select the leather, and we can see that we are getting 0.4 in by either production or import, and then we're not using any right now, so that's cool. Let's check out water. We're getting 1.2 and we're using 1, so that's okay. Right now we are losing meat at a pretty good clip there. You can see we're only bringing in 1.2, but we're using 3. So that's a bit of a problem. Now what I don't know is if I were to throw out another hunter in the same area as the other one, if that makes it more effective or not. I've seen in some of the other videos and everything multiple kind of the same building in the same area, so I assume so. Let's go ahead and click on this. So we do have 4 workers on here getting 1.2. We could certainly test this. 1.2. I do want to double check that. 1.2 and we're losing 3. Let's go ahead and give this a try. Not you, this one. And we're just going to stick this right next to it. Okay, so we are actually too close. This one's already being exploited. Okay, we'll just take a peek around again real quick. Yeah. Now, one of the things you can do is when there's animals in a zone, you can actually hunt them. And there were sheep in this zone, so we do see them walking around. I think what I can do is make an army, go out to the main map, and then hunt and take them out. We may be able to do it from in here as well. I've just never done that. Okay, I'm moving on to the Flint Collector now. I probably should have done this already. Looks like we've got 1.2 over here, probably being the max. So we're just going to go ahead and set that up. Here is fine. So we will get that going. So yeah, let me show you some other things too while we're here. Basically, we have this window here, the government window. We can see some information about our nation here. We got the hierarchy here. I haven't really looked through a lot of this. I've kind of skimmed this a bit. Policies are going to be important as we go. As you learn, as you get more knowledges and everything, you can enact certain policies. Right now we just have the one active. Here we have nothing on this guy. For economy, we just have the gift economy. You can see the different things it does here. We really have nothing to add right now, so we're going to have to wait till we get some more knowledges. Then we just get the one. Social. So when we go into knowledges, we'll end up with having some projects available. We don't have any yet, and basically these are ideas, as you can see here. You can actually give ideas to other players. You can say, here's the idea for arithmetics, for example. Once you have that, you can start working on that project, which will unlock, new tech or policies, things like that. So we're kind of just getting started. So it's going to be a little bit, perhaps, before we get some more of those. And I think there's one called sedentary, which we need in order to make homes. So for now, it is slums for us. Okay, let's get a militia going because we do want to defend ourselves. We could have barbarians attack us, like right now they could suddenly attack. So we need to get on this. We're going to do a new formation. You end up putting this down where you want them to be. We'll just go ahead and put this here. We can generate all these different names. The wild boars, actually, that sounds cool. Now, militia is basically, as they described it, it's just basically a pile of weapons, for example, and when attacked, your people will go and get those, right? A certain number of people that we're going to determine here. So we're going to go with, say, 10, and we can go into ranged units. These are rock throwers, that's great. We'll do... Oh, I can't actually do any of those because I don't have stone. Okay, well, we will probably then stick to these warriors. And let's see. I'm going to burn through some wood, but I think wood is really not a problem. So we're going to do 10 of them. So there we go. We now have these 10. And we'll see these guys out on the overhead map, out in the overworld. We just couldn't move them or anything. Not until we made a new formation and we did an army. And that's what I want to do right now. We're just going to go ahead and put this... just put this over here. One of the cool things about this too is the buildings can move. You can move them pretty easily. So, defenders of Weemdale, perfect. Let's do that. Army. Well, not defenders. These are actually attackers, but that's okay. I'm cool with that. Let's go ahead and hit OK. Let's see, and we're gonna go again with these units. Let's just do a small number because I just want some to explore with. We'll just go with 4. The thing to remember about an army is it actually takes 4 out of your population. So you can see we have 74, so it's not a huge deal. But if you take that out, that's potential workers and everything. So that's not a great thing to be pulling out like a large army. Plus there's upkeep and everything as well. So let's go ahead and recruit these 4. So we've got those 4 there. And there we go. And then we could actually add more to them if we wanted to. I mentioned moving buildings. Let me just show you that. You can actually select... I thought you could actually select these ones, but maybe you can't. But we can select, for example, the ground storage, hit the move icon, and then you can move it around. So you can do that with the other buildings. Okay, we're out here on the overworld map. We have our units. We've got the 4, and then we have our 10 militia. We've got the little home icon there. I'm assuming that's what that means. So we have these 4. What I don't know is if I can right-click. We're already in this territory. So I want to take these guys out. I actually should have tried to see if I could send them over to attack them directly on the map in there. But anyway, what we could do is we can explore this tile, see what it looks like, and then we can just kind of come back and hunt. Because I like looking at tiles. I like checking it out. So let's go ahead and march them over. Again, it's just 4. Hopefully we don't have anything terrible happen to them. Let's see, we were well received by natives in a small village where we spent a few days to rest. Let's see, in the meantime, you're welcome to stay in our small village. Sure. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and select this here, and we're going to take a peek. Okay, here's our troops, basically right here. Our 4 guys have set up camp. They're just kind of wandering around, and I've looked around here a bit, and there's nothing crazy. Let's see, what is this? No, Nordic grass, nothing crazy there. Really, you know, no water here, right? Or is there just, there's just a piece of water out here, actually. This is gravel, but that is water out there. That's funny, just a little clip. So pretty barren out here, but for those of you who've watched my videos in the past, watched me play similar kinds of games, kind of civ builders, or you know, these games of exploration, you know that I really like to look around. I'm never happy with any place I settle in. But anyway, this doesn't look any better, and like I said, we just want to take a peek. So we're going to jump back out and go hunt those sheep if we can. Okay, so here we are. We've got our unit selected. We can right click out here. We can select hunt. Okay, and they will go over and hunt those sheep. Hopefully, oh look, my militia actually started too. So it just triggers the action for the whole area. So let's jump into the map. Okay, I may have jumped in here a little bit too late. I've been looking around and didn't see the fighting of sheep or anything. But that's fine. I'm going to assume that we're going to get those resources. It might even tell us in an event up here. But one thing I noticed, I actually was looking up here. Oh, mission completed hunting. Let's just look at this. Okay, that was just for setting up our hunter before. I did get this gathering message, and it says it seems there's also plants in the territory that produce vegetables and fruit we can harvest. This is about putting down this guy, the gathering camp, this guy. The problem is, I thought, you know, there wasn't anything here. Is it telling me that there is something here for sure? It says it will light things up in green that could be exploited, but I don't know. It probably just always says that. Because I really didn't see anything, unless I'm blind. I wasn't able to put this anywhere I tried. So, ooh, wait a second. There we go. I didn't actually, did I really not try in here? Huh. Let's see, let's try to put this just right next to here. Oh wait, it says there's nothing. I think it's just because that building is there. Maybe that's why it's throwing me. Oh, you tricked me. And it is supposed to be green. And I've seen it before. It's like a bright green. So, anyway, yeah, there's that building where that is. So, it doesn't seem like there's anything out here to actually exploit, but the message kind of threw me. It made me feel like it was telling me there was something that I was missing. So, again, hopefully that's not going to be a big problem for us. Let's go ahead and look at our resources here. Meat is still ticking down. But it's not as bad. We're not using as much, I guess. I think we were losing 3 before. We sold 2. Oh, sold to the population. Okay, gotcha. Okay, well, we're just gonna have to kind of hope for the best. Now, one of the things you can do as well is you can, and that meat may have actually, this may be okay because of the sheep. That might have helped us out. We do have the wool. So we probably got meat from sheep. I don't think we had 122 before. I thought we had like, it was ticking down. It was scaring me. It was like 20 or 18 or something. But one of the things you can do is out in the overworld, you travel around and grab things, and you could bring them back here and drop them off. So anyway, that's something that we probably, you know, would like to do more of. We do have 7 warriors at this point. Let's do a new recruiting here. And let's see, we can't do this because we don't have the stone, which is unfortunate. So we can do more warriors. I think let's just add 1 and make it an even 8. I don't know if we can merge those 2 down there. Actually, I think we can. Okay, not enough. I think we can not reinforce. Oh wait, did I do the militia? I might have done the militia. I think I did the militia. Yeah, here we go. This is what I wanted to add it to. Let's see. We're going to go ahead and do warrior 4. We'll add 1 more here. I don't think we can bring militia over because technically they're actually not units. I suppose I could disband. We'll disband the 1. Well, that dropped it to 2. That's interesting. This kind of really throws me. I'm not really sure what's going on there. I'm just missing something, but it's probably not good that we only have 2 militia. But I want to jump back out here and look at these guys here. The 5 defenders, aka attackers of Weemdale. Now, before I jump out, I wanted to look through a couple other things, make sure we were good. I actually assigned some more people to things because we had pulled some units back. I think that's why I had some more available, and some were actually pulled out of, for example, the Flint guy, because I don't know the name here. The Flint Collector. I did assign 1. Yeah, so he went there. Let me try and do another one. Okay, so we get 2 going there. So anyway, I was kind of moving some things around there, and then realized that I hadn't shown you probably one of the most important windows here. Typical of me to wait. But basically, we've got this guy here, territory menu. So this shows us all kinds of different options. The vital needs is a really big one. You can see the population has, in average, 40% of their vital needs satisfied. You could see growth was a negative. I don't know if you caught it. We actually were down, and it just now popped into the positive. So that's good. So these are things that we want to keep a close eye on and make sure that we're kind of going upward, right? That we're progressing. We have different units here. We have 8 available jobs, so we have definitely some people that need to be assigned to working. So before I go goof around with any of the army stuff out there, I should move around and try to get some of this stuff settled. Now these tabs here, we can go through and get different kinds of information, which is pretty cool. All of this to help you kind of know where things are at and what things you need to be working on to, you know, continue to grow and prosper. Okay, back out on the main screen. Now I did have 4 warriors and 1 warrior. You can actually click and do a transfer, so I transferred the one over. So we do have him in there. Now I have not been in this tile over here, so let's cruise over here. We're just going to explore a little bit. I think I'll kind of walk over to here, maybe to this mountain and down, and then maybe kind of loop back. And just see, because the events can be good. We can actually add new people. One of the things I noticed in looking back here was that we basically... I've got this problem, I think, where we've got just a couple that are workers. We got a lumberjack, but I think some of like the old ones, the sows, I don't think they work. So what was happening was I was pulling, I had a hunter, and I would assign a second hunter, which pulled from the miner. And then I went to the miner and was like, wait, why do I have no one here? Pulled him in, and it pulled one off of this. So anyway, it'd be nice to have more of a population. The piglets will grow up, so we have them coming up, which there's a lot of them. So we should be good, but anyway, going out and exploring the world is a nice way to get resources, potentially more people, things like that. I do want to take a look into this zone here, and I think I'm just going to kind of roam around here and see if there's anything really cool that sticks out. Okay, you can see I've kind of made my way over here. This is the 4th tile. Actually, there's a unit here, and when I selected this, you could see down the bottom left says this formation is peaceful towards us. We can safely camp or pass through their territory. Jumped in there, looked around, looked interesting. There is coal here, coal and clay, which is interesting. But there are these mammoths down here, or these elephants, whatever the case may be. Basically, there are 2 of them, so I could fight them. I think in Nokrium's video, he basically was able to capture some of these, and I think he just went in and hunted, but I don't know, I imagine that if you just go in and hunt, you're killing them, so I'm not really sure. Let's see, we do have hunt or settle. We don't want to settle, and this might be dangerous for us, but I'm not too concerned about these guys. I really want to explore with these guys. I want to see what happens. There is just 2 of these guys, so I mean, they're big. Well, let's see. I don't know. We're going to see how this turns out for us. So it is mammoth. We are launching a hunt against 2 mammoth. Our hunters will attempt to kill as much of these animals as they can to fill their inventory. So now we could jump into the region to see it. Okay, so here we go. We've got our guys at the camp, and they are marching down here. Let's see how poorly this goes. All kinds of clay here. And now this is actually kind of good. 5-on-1, not taking them both at the same time. So we did lose one. This may not go very well for us. There's 2, at least 3. Oh boy. This is definitely no good. Oh wow. Well, yeah. That was quick. Battle is over, you think? Okay, back in our territory, you can see that our growth is 2.4. Vital needs is 100%, which is great. Overall, I think we're doing decently. I wanted to look at food. I haven't done that yet. So we're at 119. It is coming down. So I definitely would like to have more of this going. Now, what may happen, it could be possible that if we get the right knowledge, something might open up to us. We may just have to wait for, say, agriculture or something in order to do more than just exploit a very specific kind of food resource. So anyway, I'm kind of hoping that that ends up being the case. Otherwise, food could be a problem. But of course, we could settle make a second settlement somewhere that has food, and then you can actually transfer food, over to, say, this settlement. If this were going really well, you can also just uproot and move. So anyway, those are all possibilities. Right now, we just want to make sure that everything is doing pretty well. I would say everything is doing pretty well, short of the meat, which we just talked about, but it's not too shabby. Okay, well, I think that's going to just about wrap it up here. This video's gone a little bit longer than I had hoped it would. Having said that, I still wish I could show you some research and everything. I've kind of been letting it go a little bit and managing some things here and there, but it looks like that's not going to happen right away. I know some of the stuff, they all have kind of these hidden markers or hidden requirements before they will pop up. For example, my people will get the idea for agriculture, for example, but the requirements for that are unknown to us. I think people in the Discord have talked about some of the possibilities there, something about perhaps, you know, running out of food or being low on food, and I have a lot with the meat and everything, so that may not happen for a while, but there could be some other things, that requirements that could be met where you know, eventually learn that. But anyway, I think I've pretty much shown you what I can show you today. I do want to thank you guys for watching as always. If you'd like to see more of this, let me know. Just leave me a comment. Let me know you'd like to see more. I may do another video following up on this if this seems to go anywhere. I may do a new start. I may start up in somebody else's civilization that they've abandoned, which I think sounds kind of cool. So anyway, I will be playing this game for a while, but you guys can let me know if you'd like to see it on the channel. Thanks again, as always, and I will catch you next time.